people get addicted to this kind of relationships. He is a man who doesn't respect his commitment. Dating such a guy is like dating your school bully. Girls, a jealous man is an insecure man. And trust me, he will make you pay for his insecurities. Why does Emily choose them again and again?
She's having my baby.
Yes. I know!
Now go get your man.
You're my...
No, I'm not.
Is this why you came to Rome? You wanted a meeting?
I had absolutely nothing to do with this.
Emily in Paris has one of the messiest love lives on the television. And today we're talking about her three main boyfriends: Italian, Marcello; French, Gabriel; and British, Alphie. Why do I mention nationalities of the guys? Well, maybe because their country of origin is the only difference between the three. In today's video, we will break down Emily's relationships with all three guys, their behavior, and we will understand why you won't or shouldn't want to date any of these guys. And at the end of this video, I will tell you what I think is the real problem behind these relationships. Spoiler alert, Emily. Because even though these men seem so different, Emily keeps repeating the same pattern in the relationships with them. And chances are you might recognize yourself. Before we start, tell me in the comments, which guy would you prefer for Emily to end up with? Or maybe she should stay with somebody else entirely? Let me know in the comments. And let's dive into it. Before we talk about the specific three relationships, we need to talk about the toxic relationships in general. A healthy relationship looks like this. It's like a straight line. Maybe sometimes it's like this, but it doesn't have extreme dips and extreme peaks. Almost always you feel stable and fine. A toxic relationship looks like this, what I call an emotional roller coaster. It has extreme dips and extreme peaks. In the dips, you feel extremely low, and in the peaks, you feel sky high. And that's why people get addicted to this kind of relationships. We begin to be wired to believe that drama equals love. 1 week you break up, next week you move in together, then you discover that he was cheating, and then he professes his eternal love for you. Constant up and downs. And let's be honest, if you were watching a movie or a TV show and the main character, the girl, is just quietly happy in her stable, healthy relationship, would it be interesting to watch? No. The toxic relationship is much more interesting to follow, and that's why we begin to feel that stable relationship means lack of emotions. You'll see the same emotional roller coaster in each of Emily's relationships. So let's break them down. First, Gabriel. I call him almost man because he is almost with you, but never completely. Gabriel is one of the first people Emily meets in Paris. He is her neighbor, and immediately it's clear there is attraction, there is chemistry between them.
I promise I won't bang on your door again.
No problem. Bang anytime.
The problem, he is in a very serious 5-year-long, almost engaged kind of relationship. Girls, a guy who is in a serious relationship but still behaves as if he was single is a big red flag. Girls tend to excuse such behavior with, he just doesn't love his girlfriend anymore, but he loves me. With me, it will be different. But my dear ladies, if he doesn't love his girlfriend, why can't he take the responsibility and end the relationship? It's the most honest thing he can do. Free the space in her life that you don't want to take anyway. Instead, men like Gabriel avoid the discomfort of the breakup and choose a comfortable position of emotional and sometimes actual cheating. And that already tells us what kind of partner he is. He is a man who doesn't respect his commitment. Now, here is the thing. Gabriel doesn't love Camille. He is in love with Emily. But for several seasons, he behaves as if this situation is somehow out of his control at all. He keeps coming back to Camille just because she wants him, as if he was a toy in her hands that has zero control over his life. Now look me in the eye and tell me that this guy is a relationship material. Exactly. What makes this even worse is that he refuses to give Emily clarity. Just tell her, I choose to stay in my relationship and end it. But no, he keeps her at arm's length, refusing to let go, which is not only annoying, it's destructive. It ruins her relationships with other guys. This is the roller coaster we've talked about. There is a perfect example of this in season 1, when Emily kisses Gabriel. She doesn't know he has a girlfriend, Camille, yet, and right after this kiss, she finds out about the girlfriend. Next day, she wants to avoid the situation, to just forget it, and she tells him, let's just forget about this. It was probably just me. I just misread your signals. And Gabriel, guess what, tells her, no, I felt something too. Why would you say this? Why would you ever say something like that if you don't plan to leave your relationship? Because it's not about Emily's feelings or Camille's feelings. It's about his feelings, his comfort, his desire to avoid conflict. Now let's talk about Gabriel's ego, because it's fragile. There is that dinner scene when we find out that Camille's family owns a chateau and they produce champagne. So she comes from quite a rich family. And the moment she mentions her family business, she gives Gabriel this worried, anxious look, which tells us this is not the first time. She just cuts the conversation with, we don't have to talk about it. Later, we find out that her family actually is ready and has offered to loan him the money so that he can buy his own restaurant. And that's Gabriel's big dream. That's what he wants to do. But instead of seeing this as an offer of support from the family of your probably future wife, Gabriel gets offended by it. He sees it as an attack. He resents Camille for it, as if it's her fault that her family is rich and he is not. So instead of accepting their help and moving forward, he keeps being resentful and bitter and complains that he can't fulfill his dream, when the solution is literally right in front of him.
How can I go back to a man whose ego is so fragile that he'd rather move away than accept my family's support?
Girls, listen carefully. A man with a fragile ego will always hold you back. He will compete with you. Your success will feel like a personal insult to him. And instead of building a life together and moving forward, you will be managing his insecurities. Second boyfriend on our list is the British guy Alphie. I call him the chase me man. And honestly, in my opinion, he's the most toxic of the three. Here is why. He is rude. He is arrogant, and what Emily mistakes for his sarcastic charm is lack of basic manners. Their first meeting at the French class tells us everything we need to know about him. He mansplains Brexit to Emily.
I just never really understood the meaning of Brexit.
Well, it's a combination of words, Britain and exit.
For somebody who pushes American feminist ideas among the French society, which is apparently behind on it, Emily lets this slide very easily. Here is something important about Emily. As a person, she has a magic skill to tolerate discomfort given to her by other people, to tolerate mistreatment. She is able to be mistreated by others for a very long time. In fact, when people are mistreating her, she gets attracted to them. She doesn't resent them. And yes, there is a reason for that. We will discuss it in a minute. Alphie hates Paris. He refuses to learn French. He acts entitled. He's openly rude and disrespectful to Emily. That's the starting package. Personally, I wouldn't tolerate this guy for 1 minute. Emily starts dating him. When sarcasm becomes a part of somebody's personality, it's usually covering up a deep insecurity. To feel better about himself, this guy will need to constantly bring others down, including his partner. Dating such a guy is like dating your school bully. After they spend their first night together, guess what happens? Alphie disappears. He stops responding to Emily's texts. He stops returning her calls. Let's call it for what this is. It is a classic control technique. Men do this for a reason. They know that if they disappear in this crucial moment, the girl won't be able to stop thinking about them. They will start chasing the guy, modern man. And indeed, Emily starts doing exactly that. Alphie keeps repeating this pattern inside their relationship when they're already dating. At the sight of a first difficulty, at a first jealousy, at a first suspicion, he disappears and he treats her with silence. She is the one who is constantly chasing him in this relationship. So in this new relationship with his silent treatments, we can see the emotional roller coaster once again. Now let's talk about jealousy, because Alfie is really jealous. No, he's obsessed with Gabriel. Emily tells him nothing is going on, but her word is not enough. He keeps bringing it up. He cannot get over his suspicions. Girls, a jealous man is an insecure man. He cannot believe that you would choose him if you had other options. And trust me, he will make you pay for his insecurities. Being in a relationship with someone like this is exhausting. You're constantly walking on eggshells or riding a roller coaster. You don't know when this bomb will explode next. And yes, such guys very often ruin their own relationships because they prefer to leave first. They are so afraid to be left by the woman. And that's exactly what Alfie did, by the way. Boyfriend number 3, internet favorite, the Italian guy Marcello. Let's call him the fantasy man. From the moment they meet, Marcello feels like a dream guy. They've just met and he already offers her to come to Rome and spend a romantic weekend in Italy with him.
When are you coming back to Paris?
Not sure. When are you coming to Rome?
They eat pasta, drink Aperol Spritz, throw coins into Fontana di Trevi, they ride Vespa, and dance under the full moon. It's all giving Roman holidays, or eat, pray, love, if you will. It is so intense, too intense for a second date. It is love bombing at its finest. And you know who likes to love bomb the girls? Narcissists. At the beginning of a relationship, men like this present to you a fake, carefully curated version of themselves that's designed for you to quickly fall in love. And once you do, your role quietly changes. You stop being a partner and start being an audience, an admirer. Marcello's true personality doesn't take long to show up. Emily is in Rome with him, living her best fantasy weekend, when her boss Sylvie shows up to discuss with Marcello a partnership between her firm and his family company. Emily had nothing to do with this. She didn't know Sylvie plans to come. She didn't know that this is happening. But Marcello doesn't listen to her. He doesn't bother. He just blows up at her that you planned this all along and disappears. And now she, still in a foreign country where she came for him to spend time with him, is left alone and she can't reach him because he won't return her calls. Welcome to another relationship roller coaster. Emily. Here is the thing about men like Marcello. They are wonderful to spend time with, but they are not a material for building a long-term stable relationship. With such a man, you can have a fantastic romantic getaway. But the moment reality comes into the picture, everything collapses. Because Marcello can offer escape, not a partnership. And we see this very clearly when he decides to launch his own brand and become basically a fashion designer. Emily, of course, is responsible for marketing. And let's be honest, it's not just marketing. She makes it all happen. She finds the venue, she organizes his fashion show, she takes care of everything. His only job is to design. But the moment he feels doubts about himself, he starts seeing his designs as not worthy, he explodes at Emily. He makes her responsible for his imaginary failure. Yeah, because the actual failure didn't happen yet, but he already freaks out and blames her.
It was a huge mistake. I'm not a designer.
Of course you are.
Just because you keep saying it doesn't mean it's true.
When all she did was supporting his dream. This is what fantasy men do. They love the admiration, but they cannot tolerate the pressure, the responsibility, or reality. It's time to talk about Emily herself, because all her men behave more or less the same way, and it's not a coincidence. Emily dated very different guys, but the outcome is always the same. They choose themselves and their egos. So the real question is not what's wrong with each guy specifically, there is a lot of wrong with them as we found out, but why does Emily choose them again and again? First of all, as a person, Emily is people pleaser. And we can see this pattern in all of her relationships, not only romantic relationships.
But I'm an agreeable person. People like me.
Look at how badly her boss Sylvie treats her. She's cold, dismissive, disrespectful, openly rude to her. Does Emily set boundaries? Does Emily even think about leaving? No. Instead, she decides she needs to win Sylvie's approval. When Emily is mistreated, she doesn't walk away. She takes it as a challenge. I will make them like me, which means adjusting herself over functioning, tolerating things she shouldn't just to keep the other person happy with her. And that's why in romantic relationships, Emily too tolerates a lot of things that other women wouldn't. Gabriel constantly choosing Camille over her and escaping, Alphie being rude, disappearing, punishing her with silence, and Marcello blaming her for things she didn't do. These are big red flags, but they don't push Emily away. They attract her. Another thing about Emily is she's the kind of girl who lives her life by the book. Good university, good job, career plans, achievement. Being the good girl. And what happens to a girl like that, especially in TV shows? They snap. Suddenly everything new feels irresistible. Europe, fashion, architecture. Man, she is up for this adventure.
When we get a chance like this, it'll be an adventure.
And there is no problem with that. Go, Emily, have your adventure. But adventure is exactly what attracts her in men too. For example, when she finds out that Gabriel has a girlfriend, she doesn't distance herself. Instead, she befriends Camille, his girlfriend, and she constantly hangs out with them too. This is a recipe for disaster brewing to happen. But it's exciting. Emily enjoys the emotional roller coaster so much that she keeps not only riding the roller coaster that others create for her, she keeps creating these roller coasters herself. So if you recognize yourself in Emily or recognize your relationship in any of the three, you need to ask yourself these two things. First, are you tolerating mistreatment because you can't stand people being unhappy with you? Would other people tolerate things that you're tolerating? And second, do you confuse the intense emotions with the deep ones? Because true love shouldn't make you suffer. It shouldn't give you these dips. It shall not keep you anxious, confused, or on edge. And of course, you shouldn't have to adjust your personality to please your partner. Thank you for watching this video. If this video made something click in you, please consider subscribing. And I will see you in my next video. Bye bye.